This Three Beards Media podcast may contain mature themes, and if you're not down with that, we got 3 words for you. Like the podcast. Nailed it!
Good evening. Welcome in, everyone. We're live from the Gravitate Co-working Studio for Hawk's Eye View, episode 16. Co-host Andrew Barber with your co-host Drew Shipley. Sponsored by Revelton Distillery and Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage, as always. Huge shout out presented by Three Beards Media as well. We're here on a Wednesday evening because tomorrow is Turkey Day, Thanksgiving Day. So hopefully you're all spending that with your families and enjoying time with family and friends and whoever you spend the holidays with. Drew, what's your favorite part of Thanksgiving?
It's the football, Andrew.
Okay.
I love the history of the Cowboys playing and the Lions playing on Thanksgiving Day.
Mm-hmm.
Just so historic. Obviously, the food comes, with it, right? I think I really pissed Jenny off this year. That
What'd you do?
We outvoted her 2-1. We are going with a ham for Thanksgiving tomorrow. We are not doing a turkey.
Gotcha. My family, I don't know exactly what's on the menu tomorrow. I'm just gonna show up and eat whatever grandma's cooking tomorrow. Whether it be turkey, ham, chicken. She might make her famous ham balls, which I would call meatballs, which have ham in them, but beef, sausage, whatever. My grandma's going to make an array of things tomorrow, and I'm going to eat it, and I'm just going to enjoy it, basically. So, and then on Friday, sharing it with some other family as well. So I'm just going to show up and eat food. I don't really care what's being served. That's my perspective on Thanksgiving. I just am going to enjoy the time with family and eating food. So hope everyone out there listening is doing the same.
Yeah, Andrew, so we're kind of like in between, right? So we don't have any family out here in Maryland, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of one of those things like I would rather host or be hosted. Like one side or the other. We are making all the things, but just for our immediate household, right? So like
Perfect.
we're doing all the work, but just the 3 of us. Like I would rather host some friends, of some sort or whatever, or be hosted. But like at the same time, it'll be nice to lay low key because we're going to New Jersey on Friday morning. We're going to the Jets Dolphins Black Friday game.
Ooh.
Jenny's a Jets fan, and Jonathan is a Dolphins fan. So we have a house divided come Friday, and the Dolphins come here to play the Commanders the following Sunday. So we're gonna see Tyreek Hill light it up twice in 9 days.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
So that sounds good. Speaking of lighting it up, we've got Iowa-Nebraska. They're going to light up the scoreboard. Over under 25.5. It's the annual Black Friday game. It starts at 11 a.m. It's a CBS game. I believe it's Iowa's second CBS game of the year. Probably their final one, I would imagine, unless I don't know what kind of bowls are on what channels, but I would imagine that the Citrus Bowl, which is looking likely for Iowa, I think that's on.
It's on ABC.
That's an ABC. Yeah,
Yep.
New Year's Day ABC thing. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. So, Iowa's last time on CBS this year. They'll probably be on CBS a little bit more going forward with the SEC tie-in going off. But anyways, that's besides the point. over under 25.5. I thought I saw
Yep.
Iowa, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Heroes Trophy game, revenge game for Iowa. Iowa did clinch the West last week. Nebraska's favored by 2.5. Last I saw.
Yep.
Is that because people think Iowa's going to rest starters?
I think Kirk made it pretty clear that if they were healthy enough to play, everybody's playing. There's only been a couple people I had seen that have been ruled out or not on the depth chart. Devontae Vines was one. I can't remember who the other was.
Deontay Vines, Bo Stevens.
Yeah.
And then I think it might be a good idea to not play Logan Jones.
I think Logan Jones was the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, Andrew. So there's an outside shot that Iowa can still play in a New Year's Six, right? And that's winning out. That's winning the Big Ten championship. You have to win that.
This week and next week, I would imagine. There's no other scenario.
Yeah. So, I mean, that being said, I think the 10-win mark is important to the team and Kirk personally. Like we've said from episode 1, that he needs 10 to surpass the 60% win percentage mark, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But man, I mean, this is bowl game or bust for Nebraska. So I think it might be more towards that piece of why Nebraska's favored. More so than if I was playing people or not.
Gotcha. Well, Chubba Purdy is the confirmed starter. I heard that today.
Yep.
So that's Nebraska's third quarterback of the season, and he can run a little bit. He's got 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions on the season. I know the Iowa defense doesn't have Cooper DeJean, but we are still a ball hawking secondary even without Cooper DeJean. So potential for turnovers on defense, I think. There's not going to be points. This is going to be an ugly slobber knocker of a game. It's probably going to come down to Drew Stevens' field goal, I would imagine, not to give anything away. I know there's some other key injuries for Nebraska. I think Anthony Grant got injured, and his status is questionable. I think a couple of their linebackers, Nick Henrich, I think is questionable, and that's one of their leading tacklers on the season. So I think Nebraska is coming in a little bit dinged up too, but everybody is at this time of year. Iowa is as well. So I don't think this is going to be a very pretty game. But I also think Iowa might be able to play a little bit more loose. What do you think? Since the pressure's kind of off, it is a rivalry game. It is a trophy game, but the heavy lifting has kind of been done, right? The Big Ten West isn't out there anymore like it was last season. So it's kind of it's almost like a pseudo bowl game for Iowa in a sense.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to go the other way, Andrew. I want to play the revenge factor of Nebraska keeping Iowa out of the Big Ten championship game last year.
Mm-hmm.
Albeit Iowa's won 8 of the last 10, the last 6 in Lincoln specifically. So we have that going for us. And, Nebraska, their last 3 losses have all been single possession games. Overtime against Wisconsin, lost to Maryland by 3, and then Michigan State as well. Not world beaters, but I mean, Maryland took Michigan to the limit last week, right? So I don't even know what to think about Maryland, living 10 minutes from College Park, of like who that team is. But what we do know, like time and time again, is like, I don't know, they continue to lose one possession football games. Nebraska does. So the team has not learned to win yet under Matt Rule. And I don't know. I mean, all the nice things Matt Rule said about Kirk Ferentz and Brian Ferentz, and I would have hired Brian or looking to hire Brian when I was in the NFL for his 15 minutes of fame that Matt Rule was in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, also, Urban Meyer hired
Chris Doyle.
Chris Doyle. Yeah, I don't know why I said Greg. Chris Doyle, and he didn't even see the weight room. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a good ball game. I think I'm going to go the other way as far as the total is concerned for once. Andrew, 25.5, historic low. And I think it's probably because of a turnover pick six, scoop and score, something like that. That puts
Okay.
it over.
Yeah. I don't blame you for thinking that way. One other thing that I saw on Twitter was every time Iowa's won the Big Ten West, they have beat Nebraska.
Oh,
So we've won the Big Ten West. We beat Nebraska. So
yeah.
I don't mean to give anything away, which you can probably understand which way I'm leaning
I think
based
I know
on
where you're going.
based on my preseason predictions, based off what I'm saying here, what I've said all season long. I think you know which way I'm leaning. Yeah. So football game, I'll be watching. I'll be enjoying time with family as well around that time, but should be an intense game. Um, let's switch gears. You want to talk a little basketball?
Let's do it. Might as well.
All right. Let's start with the women's side of things, because they are starting with a tournament on Friday. Thanksgiving tournaments are kind of a thing in college basketball, if you weren't all aware. They are down in Florida this week. They're going to play 3 games in Florida in 3 days. They start with Purdue Fort Wayne, or IPFW, on November 24 at 7:30 p.m. approximately. There's a game before them, you know how that goes if it runs over. So maybe a little bit later of a tip. But the real intrigue here for me is who's on the other side of the bracket, and it's the Kansas State Wildcats, who went into Carver just a little bit ago and played Iowa, beat Iowa at Carver. They beat Iowa last year. There's a real path forward to where these two teams could meet up again, because Iowa's going to play either Florida Gulf Coast and Delaware. No offense to either of those two teams, but I don't see Iowa having much of a problem in their first 2 games in this tournament. Kansas State is going to play North Carolina, and I'll admit I don't know a lot about North Carolina and the team that they bring. Maybe they bring a good team and they'll be able to knock off Kansas State, but I would imagine that it's probably Kansas State, North Carolina, Iowa, and then I'm going to just project that Florida Gulf Coast is probably the better of the two between Florida Gulf Coast and Delaware. So I would imagine Iowa, Florida Gulf Coast, and then Kansas State, North Carolina are your semifinal matchups. And then the winner of that K State, North Carolina game will probably play Iowa. Either way, I think if North Carolina beats Kansas State, then that would become a good win for Iowa if they were able to beat North Carolina as well. So either way, I think Iowa's going to get a quality opponent in that final game. So what are you looking forward to in this tournament, 3 games in 3 days for the Iowa women?
When we preseason previewed the women, Andrew, I don't recall the teams that were in this tournament for Thanksgiving, right? So
Yeah, I overlooked that when we were doing our preseason predictions. So we don't have enough women's games predicted, so we can just make our predictions now. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that I'm gonna predict the Iowa women to win their first 2 games for sure.
I think Iowa actually revenge in the final against Kansas State. Like I just think it's going to happen. Like there's no way that Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall combine for 2 points again. Like there's no freaking way. I think Hannah Stolke maybe learned a thing or two in the previous game to stay out of foul trouble. And with that being said, what was it, only a 5-point game? Still lost by 5. So I mean, all those things aren't going to happen again, Andrew. Like regardless of what game we play the rest of the season, they're not combining for 2 points. Hannah Stolke is not going to be in foul trouble all the time. Like it was a perfect storm for Kansas State to knock off Iowa in Iowa City. So I do not see that playing out.
A lot of that was K-State mucking the game up, just making it a physical, grinded out battle, which is kind of what they do.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of their style. But I'm with you. I don't see that happening again. I think Iowa's winning this tournament. The real thing I don't know is who they're going to play in the championship, because again, I don't know anything about the North Carolina women. I'll go ahead and project and say we get another shot at Kansas State, because I think that's the intrigue. That's the fun factor for all of us as Iowa fans, right? We kind of want another shot at Kansas State. I'm sure the team does too. I'm sure Bluter, Caitlin Clark, Kate Martin, Gabby Marshall, everyone on the team probably wants another shot at Kansas State if they can get it. They'll say all the right things, as they go through this 3-day adventure down there. But I think deep down they probably want another shot at Kansas State.
I didn't see the AP poll come out Monday. Did I assume Kansas State was ranked now? Because they were undefeated prior to.
Let's check on that. AP poll, Iowa remains at 5th. Kansas State has worked their way up to number 16.
And rightfully so.
At 4-0. North Carolina, 4-0 as well at number 18.
There we go.
Okay. So we are likely getting a ranked team in that final game for Iowa, regardless of who wins, unless something funky happens with Kansas State and North Carolina both losing. I don't foresee that, but it could happen. You never know. There's been parity in women's basketball. I don't really see it, but 2 ranked teams going off against each other there. And so Iowa versus whomever in the championship game will be a ranked matchup. So it's going to be a quality win for Iowa if they're able to pull off all three wins.
Sure.
The third win will be a quality win, I would imagine. So,
did you happen to see Caitlin Clark on the Manning Cast Monday night?
I did. I thought that was really great. She was really into it. Obviously, she's a huge Chiefs fan, and she predicted a Travis Kelce touchdown, and then it happened.
She is on the perfect prediction board, or whatever they call it.
She is.
And between the 3 guests, she was the most interesting one. You know, like Mark Wahlberg was like, so I don't know. I don't know if he was high or what, but like he was just like.
No, he wanted to be anywhere else but the Manning Cast.
For sure.
And Caitlin Clark, she's just such a great representative, man. She was engaged. She was into it. She really enjoyed it. Now I'm just waiting for the Mannings to show up at an Iowa game, an Iowa women's game, along with Mahomes and Kelce.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
Okay, I don't want Taylor Swift to show up at an Iowa game, if I'm being honest.
No,
because then the camera will go to her and her alone. We don't need that. No. But I think it would be cool if Mahomes showed up. I do think there's a possibility of that happening one day. Since they're both,
they'll have like a paid showing by Hy-Vee
and State Farm, because they're both Hy-Vee and State Farm.
And State Farm, that's true.
And I don't know if you saw the new ad.
I did see it with
Caitlin Clark,
Jimmy Butler, and Reggie Miller.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good.
That's cool. That's cool. She's going to be in an ad, so I think that's neat. Let's take a break and hear from both of our sponsors at Revelton and Wintrust.
At Revelton Distilling Company, everyone has become a part of the Revelton family. From the Taylors and their daughter who helped perfect their award-winning gins, to the team who installed Lucy, our 33-foot-tall custom-made still, right down to the local farms that provide our coveted corn, and even the cows on those farms who consume our mash byproduct. Want to see the farm to flask come to life? Now you can tour Lucy and find out where we take Iowa's harvest and transform it into our finest spirits. Choose between a 45-minute tour or find out even more by scheduling a VIP behind-the-scenes tour to get the taste of the full Revelton experience. You can visit them at 1400 West Clay Street in Osceola, Iowa, or find all of Revelton's award-winning spirits at any local grocery or spirits retailer. Are you in the market for a new house and unsure of the mortgage process? Want to know that you have someone looking out for you? Kyle Lehman from Wintrust Mortgage is a down-to-earth, knowledgeable lender who can be there for you in your corner. He can work with you in any of the 50 states and is just what you need to expand your home search. Kyle will work with you through the entire process with little to no work from you. Take the worry of the mortgage process out of the equation so that you can focus on looking for your dream home. Contact Kyle at www.wintrust.com/Kyle-Lehman or call him at 515-473-0546.
Thank you for listening to our sponsors, and thank you for our sponsors for supporting us. Really wanted to quickly forgot to mention it at the opening. Don't forget about December 9, the STFU event that's going down December 9. from noon to 2. We're going to be live from Revelton in Osceola, Iowa. You're more than welcome if you're free and nearby. If you want to come out, hang out, there will be a raffle for a good cause. Some good prizes, too. I can't remember the prizes off the top of my head, but some good prizes, a good cause, a good time. Everybody from every one of our podcasts that can make it will be there in attendance, and we'll be recording live on that day, Saturday, December 9. Not really anything going on football wise that day. There might be some basketball going on if you care about that kind of thing. And it looks like Drew wants to chime in. Go ahead. Go ahead, Drew.
There is most definitely a football thing that happens December 9th, Andrew.
What is that?
It's America's game, dude. It's Army-Navy.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
It is literally my favorite football game of the year. I don't care if I was in the Rose Bowl. Like, seriously. Like, watching Army-Navy on CBS, Army singing second, like all the pageantry, the traditions playing out here on the East Coast. They're in Foxborough this year. They come here to FedEx Field next year, so hoping to get some tickets to that next year. Still being out here. So I wanted to correct you, Andrew, that there is a football thing happening December 9th. And
I consider myself corrected. I stand corrected.
It's a game that means a lot to me, my friend. So yeah.
I am sorry. My greatest apologies for overlooking that one.
No, I'm not mad.
It is a great event. It is a great event.
Oh, I love it.
I hope it's not going down the same time as our event, because I certainly would like to actually watch that.
So my question, like, I don't remember what time is it, and do we have like a time slot, Andrew, that we, as the Hawk's Eye View, are going on live?
Great questions. I'll have to connect with Chris Shipley after we get off to know all that. I do know that the event is planned from noon to 2 on that Saturday.
Shoot, we'll be good. I think, yeah, Army-Navy usually plays 2:30, 3 o'clock or something like that.
That's what I thought. It was an afternoon affair. So yeah, noon to 2 Central Standard Time is when that'll be going down. Obviously there'll be some drive time in there for me, but I'll hopefully be able to watch the Army-Navy game somewhere. Yeah, and then our shirts, our merch at Three Beards Media. If you want to go check out on Twitter, Three Beards Media, I think it's pinned at the top. Maybe the event's pinned at the top, but you can find it in there. There's cool merch for any team you're a fan of. We prefer the black and gold version here on Hawk's Eye View, but if you prefer another flavor, another one of the other teams in the state, we've got that for you too. So go ahead and do that. All right. Anything else you want to pitch quick before we move on?
No, I just want to throw it out here. You know, Drake is playing in an FCS college football playoff game for the first time in their history. So good luck to Drake. So get your Drake gear too, right? We got white and blue. Three Beards Media merch. So get your Drake gear too. And you and I mean, they put up a great first half against North Carolina today. I was watching that while I was working from home. Shot like 66% in the first half, and then North Carolina, Hubert Davis and company came back out, and they lit it up, man. It was it got ugly there in the second half. But don't forget our FCS brethren as well. You know, purple, gold, blue, and white. Great schools as well. So
good call out there. Let's move on to some men's basketball, because they have a tournament going down on Thursday and Friday. They're in San Diego. It's the Rady Children's Invitational. All proceeds go to the Children's Hospital that I believe is located in San Diego there. So what better team than Iowa to be representing a tournament that all proceeds go to a Children's Hospital? I think that's a good event. I think it's the first year of the event as well, too. San Diego, that's a nice destination for a Thanksgiving holiday.
And Andrew, San Diego is my favorite place to visit in the country.
Really?
It is absolutely beautiful. Have you ever been?
Yeah, I was actually there when I was 12 years old, but that's the only time I've ever been. And you're right, it is nice. The weather's nice. The people are nice. It's just a really great place to live.
For sure.
An expensive place to live, though. You better have some money if you live in San Diego, California. That's why for me it's a nicer place to visit rather than live, because I don't know if I could make it out there with how expensive everything is, but it is a very nice place. So Iowa's got their first game tomorrow. Maybe you've had your turkey, all your food at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. They're tipping off on FS1 against Oklahoma, who's 4-0. Unranked Oklahoma, unranked Iowa as well. Um, but this Oklahoma team, they're a decent team. They have Porter Moser as their coach. You might remember him from the Loyola Chicago run.
Yep.
Um, so they're decent coached, and this might be kind of a make or break year for Porter Moser as well. Really needing to probably break through and make the big dance. And ESPN's got this as a 50-50 matchup. I think it's kind of a 50-50 matchup as well. I would lean Iowa. I think Iowa is the slightly more experienced team. But you've got Otega Owe, who leads their team with 15.3 points per game. Is trying to get some more stats on the seniors here. Just bear with me. And Milos Uzon is their point guard, who I really like as well. He is averaging 7 points and 3.5 assists. I think he's capable of a little bit more than that. They also have John Hughley, the fourth big man transfer from Pittsburgh, 12-6. You've got Javian McCollum, the Siena transfer, 12 points, 2.5 assists per game. Some good guard play for Oklahoma, as well as a big man inside, but they're maybe not the deepest team. That's where I think Iowa can maybe weather the storm against Oklahoma. While they do have good guard play in their starting lineup, I think Iowa's a little bit of a deeper team, although the depth is kind of inexperienced. It's freshman and sophomore Josh Dix off the bench. So, what are you looking forward to in this initial matchup here between Iowa and Oklahoma?
Lots of points scored, Andrew. Lots of
Yeah.
points scored. Like you said, premier guard play, both teams. Lots of points because Iowa in the Fran McCaffrey era gives up a lot of points and they score a lot of points,
Especially in non-conference.
especially in non-conference and
Yeah.
and these tournaments and whatnot. And it's the first game, right? So we're not talking like they're 3 games deep and they're 3-game guarantee, and they're trying to just get out of there healthy and
Right.
67-60 type of affair. This is game 1.
Yeah.
Expecting a lot of points, Andrew, and like we said about the effort against Creighton. I think that might be the difference of, like, we know where Iowa is. Do we know who Oklahoma's played? Like, I have no idea. I haven't done my due diligence, honestly, in basketball because we're still in football season.
I don't mean to trash Oklahoma's schedule, but their wins, they're 4-0. Their wins are Central Michigan, Mississippi Valley State, Texas State, UT Rio Grande Valley. All those games were played at Oklahoma at home.
Well, there you go.
So they haven't played another power conference team yet. Definitely not anyone on the level of Creighton basketball yet. But I will just say, Iowa has to bring it. They can't really look past this Oklahoma team. They can't really afford to look past any power conference team if you're Iowa this year. In my mind, they have to bring it.
Yeah.
If they do, and I'm thinking that they will, they'll win this game against Oklahoma.
Do we have a line on the game?
Yeah, I was trying to find that real quick.
Iowa 6.5.
Yeah,
7.5.
give me
That's what I'm gonna go
one.
with.
That sounds about right, man. I'm not sure what the exact line is, but give me one moment here.
Yep.
Ooh, I don't even know if there's a line released for this game yet. I'm not finding it on ESPN.
Okay.
So,
what about the other half of the bracket, Andrew? What do we got to look forward to? Win, lose, draw. What is left in that bracket?
Yeah. So on the other side, right after Iowa and Oklahoma are done, they lead off the day at 2:00, around 4:30 or so. Then you get USC, who's ranked, Southern California, not South Carolina. Some people try and call South Carolina USC. I don't get it. But they will be playing the Seton Hall Pirates, who are a quality team as well. But a lot of expectations for USC. They've already taken a loss. Bronny James is on the roster, but he's not playing. They took a loss to UC Irvine at home by 10 points. So a little bit of a stumbling block. They did beat Kansas State in their opening game, and I thought that was a decent win because Kansas State is a decent team. You want to talk about guard play, though? USC has significantly better guard play. They have Boogie Ellis, who's a 4-year player, averaging 21, 4, and 4 on 41% shooting from three, 47% from the field. Free throw might be a little bit of a weakness for him, 68% so far this year. But man, he can create, do whatever he wants. They have a 5-star guard in Isaiah Collier, who's averaging 21 points per game as a true freshman. Kobe Johnson on the wing, who's back. It looks like he's played 2 games, so maybe there's an injury there to Kobe Johnson. Hopefully he's playing, though, because I'd like to play this team at full strength because I think this is going to be a high-quality matchup. And it's a little bit like Oklahoma, but a more superior version with the USC Trojans, where they're not an extremely deep team, but they're a very talented team at the top. I would argue that USC is more talented, but a younger team too. Like they have Boogie Ellis, who's kind of their veteran, and then the rest of those guys that are on that team, they're a little bit more young, inexperienced. I'm kind of thinking they'll come along later in the season, like I said in our season preview. I think it's going to be a great matchup, though. Absolutely.
I think the whole tournament's going to be, Andrew. And I looked up on DraftKings here. I do have a line on Iowa, Oklahoma. We have the wrong team favored, Andrew. Oklahoma.
Ooh.
-1.
Oh, wow. So basically a pick 'em.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, there's not even a pick 'em offered on DraftKings.
Not even a money line offered.
No.
All right. Well, Iowa +1 it is.
That's right. Yeah.
Because Iowa +1 it is. So, yeah, Iowa certainly wouldn't be favored in a game against USC. Maybe they would in a game against Seton Hall. Maybe I'm underestimating Seton Hall, but I don't think so. So I'm thinking Iowa, USC are going to play for this championship. And look, I called my shot before the season. I don't see any reason to back down now. I'm gonna say Iowa beats USC and wins this tournament in San Diego.
Man, I don't know. I think in my season preview I said loss to USC.
Yeah, let me pull it up. I got my spreadsheet somewhere.
I mean, Elite 8 team at least last year, if not Final Four, right? Or am I thinking 2 years ago, 2021?
Yeah, you're thinking a couple of years ago, maybe.
Yeah, 2021, where USC and UCLA were both.
Yeah, we both had Iowa Creighton as a loss. You had Seton Hall / USC because we couldn't predict, but we really think it was USC. I said win, you said loss. So we're sticking true. We're sticking true to our preseason predictions.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I'm not going to be surprised if I'm wrong. I just think it's kind of a quality. I was playing a tough non-conference schedule, and I appreciate that they're doing that. They have a lot of good non-conference opponents between Creighton, this tournament, and Iowa State. I appreciate that they're playing like 4 Power 5 opponents in their non-conference before Big Ten play. I think that's good. It gets you prepared for that later season stretch, but you need to pull out a win. I don't know if Oklahoma would be a quality win. Maybe. Depends on what they do in the Big 12, but I don't think so.
I would assume it is, Andrew. It's a Power 5 team in the Big 12, which widely considered the best conference in basketball, right? And they're the favored team. Like, I don't see how that would not translate into a quality win.
Yeah. Well, let me just pull up Ken Palm real quick here.
All right. I like it.
Because I'm curious where these two teams are at in Ken Palm. Oklahoma is 26 in Ken Palm. USC is 33. Iowa is 37.
Interesting. Where's Seton
Se-
Hall?
Seton Hall is 53
Okay.
in Ken Palm. Now, this isn't the net rankings that the tournament uses, but it's kind of a close approximation because I don't think the net rankings are out yet.
They're incomplete. They're incomplete. They're incomplete. Yeah, they have
Yeah.
incomplete data to make anything.
Yeah.
It's like college football playoff.
Yeah, they wait until later in the season
Yeah.
to start actually releasing the net rankings. But I do think that if Iowa were to go 2-0 in this tournament, it's likely 2-0 in the quad one because of it being on a neutral court. The teams just have to be in the top 50 of the net for it to count as quad one because of the neutral court setting.
Right. Right, and it's top 30 at home if I remember, and top 75 on the road. Is that right?
Top 75 on the road. I thought home was top 25, but you might be right about top 30. I'll double check that, but I think I think it might be top 25.
It might be.
Because I think it's separated into quads of
25,
50, 75.
Sure.
Anything below that is quad 4.
Sure.
So, but it would be very important to come out of this tournament with 2 quad 1 wins. I think that'd be an excellent outcome for Iowa for sure.
Yeah, I find it weird that when the AP poll came out for the men that they didn't have a single vote.
Iowa?
Yeah, I mean Drake had one.
Yeah, with the way that they played against Creighton, you thought maybe it would open at least a few people's eyes to at least get a vote.
One or two. Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that if Iowa comes out of this tournament 2-0, they'll definitely have a few votes.
Yeah, they will.
I would imagine they might even sneak in. Who knows?
True. Yeah, that's true.
So we will see. But I'm predicting a 2-0 record for Iowa in this tournament. So we'll see where that ends up. But it's really more about where you end up at the end of the year. I really want those quad 1 wins. Stacking those up now would be awesome.
Oh, for sure. No doubt.
All right. With that being said, anything on any basketball related subject before we give our football predictions and call it a night?
No, man. I look forward to seeing how it all pans out for the men and women over Thanksgiving weekend. So let's just hope it's a clean sweep, man. 5-0, right? Combined. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go 6-0. Let's go clean sweep across football and basketball. Iowa is going to beat Nebraska in Lincoln. The under is going to hit, Drew. You're saying over. I'm going to pick the under. Iowa 9, Nebraska 6.
So are you saying touchdown missed extra point, or are you saying 2 field goals?
3 field goals for Iowa, 2 field goals for Nebraska.
I think Chuba Purdy is going to find a way to get 1 touchdown. Just 1.
Okay.
I'm going to go 16-13, a lot like last week, except we won't miss the extra point this time.
All right. And so then you're putting your life savings on Iowa money line.
And the over. Yeah.
Wow. That might be a nice little payday if you decided to actually do that.
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
It's going to happen.
I like it.
Especially when the line's 25.5 still, or not the line, the over under total is still 25.5. I got to get on that before it goes back up.
You're going to look smart when Caleb Brown catches 3 touchdowns and Deacon Hill throws for 4. You're going to look great when we come on for our instant reaction. We'll think about our instant reaction podcast, since I know you and I are probably I'm definitely spending time with family, so I don't know if we'll get to it right away on Friday,
and I'm in New York at the Jets Dolphins game, man. So we're probably we're probably looking at maybe a Saturday evening, Sunday morning type situation.
Yeah, we'll probably see y'all back on Saturday evening late or Sunday morning early.
We could do Sunday and include the basketball games.
Oh, that might be great. Yeah, actually, you're going to hear from us a little bit more often, I think, during basketball season, just because there's so many games
Yep.
can't pack it all into one episode. So yeah, we might come back on Sunday morning and do a full recap of everything football, everything basketball that's gone down, and hopefully it's the happiest recap episode that we have ever had so far.
Yes,
So,
sir.
all right. With all that being said, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Appreciate all of you. Go find us when you're on your Thanksgiving drive on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you want to go. We appreciate you listening as always. We appreciate our sponsors as always. Thank you all. Happy Thanksgiving and go Hawks.
Go Hawks, baby. Let's go.